closer picture to the Govardhan temple actually. So let's start with Mangalachan prayers. Om
Tiradasya Jnana Shalakaya Iritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dhadati Swapadhantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Sahagana Shri Vishakhanvitamscha
Namaste
Girirajaya Govardhana Namine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dhaine
Hey
Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taktakana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwamsute Devi Pranamami Haripriya
Namo
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Te Namine Namaste Sasmi Deve Gauravani Prashayane Vishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Kapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Okay, so we'll go to the topic. So as Indra was introduced, there was a retreat conducted by Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education. They've been conducting these retreats for the past 20 years. So this year I got to go in 2024. It was from November 29th to the December of 6th. So there are three prominent speakers. Mainly His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, then His Grace Gurujan Prabhu, and Her Grace Jagatarani Mataji. Okay? So there are a lot of topics covered. When I say topics, there are three main topics, three themes. One is the 7 oceans of Krishna's sweet qualities, the next level of Krishna's Smaranam. So when I saw this theme, then I thought, okay, it's very applicable to me, so I should make an effort at least to go. And the next topic from Gurujan Prabhu was he covered between the hill and the great dance. So this is nothing but 10th canto, between chapter 25 and 27, I think. One is the between the hill is the Govardhan Leela, and the great dance is Rasavik, right? So what happens in between is Rajvasis are asking Nanda Maharaj, who is Krishna? Is Krishna as God? And then Nanda Maharaj responds to them. And then finally Indra comes to Jayavata and asks for forgiveness. And there also Krishna, at the end of all the conversation, Krishna says, now go back to your Indraloka and do your duty, but remember me, always remember. So that's a summary of that discussion. And then the last discussion was on Damodar Leela as well. So, but for today's session, it's for the next 40-45 minutes, I'm going to focus on the first topic, which is the 7 oceans of Krishna's sweet qualities, the next level of Krishna's Smaranam, right? So even in that, there are so much topics to cover. So I'm just trying to condense a little bit, and then I will be adding a lot of my experience, right? Like how it was for me being in the yatra. So that's the discussion. So generally when we go to a conference, there is always a training before that, a pre-conference, post-conference. So this one, I landed in Vrindavan first before I went to Govardhan. So I spent like a couple of days in Vrindavan so that I can like prepare my mind in myself. So I visited Krishna Balram Temple, Yamuna Ji, Radha Govinda Ji and Radha Gopinath, So in July when we went, we were not able to cover all these 7 Goswami temples. So I want to make sure that I go to the temples that I was not able to cover. Still, I did miss a couple of temples this time also. So I went to Govindaji temple and Gopinath, Radha Gopinath. Radha Gokulananda I was able to go, and opposite to that there were some Adi Mandirs. And the evening, I went to a place where they grow a lot of tulsis. It's like a big farm. I have never seen something like that. It was like a Vrindavan, right? So it was like I couldn't capture everything in my photo, in my picture, but it was a very big farm. And I don't know how they maintain it. So the devotee who takes me around, he had a service to bring 2 big Tulsi Maharajas to devotee in Radhakund. So that's why we went there. So we spent some time there. And then in the evening, went to Radharamanji. Right? So next time when anybody goes to Vrindavan, make sure you go to Radharamanji in the evening for the 9 o'clock darshan. The last darshan was 9:30. I think very recently changed it to 9. So basically, they open the darshan, and for the next 2 to 3 minutes, it will be very quiet. There will be one singer who's playing his flute, and then if you have a binoculars with you, that's all the better. You can see the deities very closely, and it is very peaceful. So every time we go to Vrindavan, we try to do that darshan. So it will be good if somebody goes to next time to Vrindavan, take a note of that. The next day went to Barsana, because Barsana was one other place that we missed in July. And July we were going to go to Barsana and Ashtashiki temples, but somehow it didn't work out. And so this time around I was able to go to Barsana. So Barsana, the key thing is that they have the lift system now. So there is you can stand, you wait in the queue for half an hour, and then there is a cart, it will just take you, the electric cart will take you, so you don't have to walk and all that. It just drops you right next to the temple entrance. So it was nice. So it's a typical day at the yatra. It's 7 to 8, 5 to 7. You have Manglarati, Japa, and Guru Puja. 7 to 8:30 in the morning is Sachinanda Maharaj's class. Then you have a break for breakfast. Then we go to Alone with Krishna. So I'll spend a lot of time on Alone with Krishna as well here. And then there is lunch and free time. At 4:30 we all gather again for Gurujan Prabhu's class. Then there is dinner prasadam, and then 1 hour of Jagatagi Mataji's class, and then finally wrap up with Kirtan and close. I was not able to do every single day this schedule, particularly after like 6:30 or 7, and like I come back to my room. It was hard for me to keep up with the schedule. So that is the typical schedule. But most of the days I try to go to Mangalarati, but I attended Satyanand Maharaj's class and Alone with Krishna in Gujarat Prabhu's class as well. So I'll cover a little bit of what I learned in terms of the philosophy and some of the key things that Satyanand Maharaj shared before we go a little bit deeper into some of the Alone with Krishna experience. Okay, so what is the condensed essence of all the scriptures, right? So the essence is always to remember Krishna or Manmana, to be Krishna conscious. Right? So Gita is the essence of all Upanishads. And then Gita, again, we have 18 chapters. We can classify as the 3 buckets, right? Like the first 6, then the last 6 and the middle 6. The first 6 is predominantly Karma Yoga, and then the last 6 is Jnana Yoga, and the middle one is Bhakti Yoga. But across the board, Bhakti Yoga is covered, but if you see predominantly. And then out of that, within the 7 to 13, the cream of that cream is between 9 and 10, chapter 9 and 10. And then the 34th verse in 9th chapter is the condensed essence, right? And this verse is also repeated twice. It is repeated in 1865 as well. Right? So here Krishna is telling, right, like engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Right? Being absorbed completely in me, surely you will come to me. Right? So here the concept, right? So everybody is very familiar with this verse. This is not a class about Gita or Bhagavatam or anything specific. But what Maharaj highlighted is Krishna is saying first thing first, right? Like engage your mind, right? And then you become my devotee. So he's asking us to focus on our internals, right? And then the externals are like offer obeisances, performing worship, and all that. So the theme here is he was highlighting about our inner consciousness, our inner hygiene, mental hygiene. Physical aspects are okay because most of us, what we do, it's easy to adapt to the physical aspects, right? So we beginning, we come to Krishna consciousness, we come to the temple, we see people starting tilak, people starting wearing the dhoti and all, kurta and all that. So it's easy to adopt those, right? And then we also try to mimic others and like Nandar Pranam and be very humble, right? We try doing that, though we are not ready to be 100% aligned with that, right? We do it for the sake of everybody is doing, or even we say confinement, right? Here's a group, I want to confine to this group from here, right? So that is how we start, nothing wrong about it. And there's also a saying, you fake it until you make it, right? So you try to fake it and then eventually you pray that I'm going to fake, I will make it eventually. But here, the nourishment, the transformation has to happen internally, right? So that is the point that Maharaj was focusing on, and that was interesting for me too. And then the other point introduced was how to summarize Krishna consciousness, right? So we always say, what is Krishna consciousness? And then Prabhupada has always referred these verses, right? So the essence of all do's and don'ts, rules and regulations, is to always think of Krishna and never forget Krishna, right? So there is a verse in Padma Puran that's referred in Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, Vismartavya na jatu chit, sarve vidhi nishedha dasayor, yetayor yeva kinkara. Right? So Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastra should be the servant of these two principles. Right? All our rules and regulations, like what are the rules and regulations that we have? Like don't do this, or like okay, get up in the morning, come to Mandalati, follow the four related principles, chant. All that, there are do's and don'ts. But on top of it, why are we doing those do's and don'ts? Right? That's all to enable the two principles, right? Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And then actually this points, so Govardhan Prabhu also has written an article about this. I picked up this few things on the table, right? Like the most essential do is to always remember Krishna. The most essential don't is never forget Krishna. The most essential rule is to always remember Krishna. The most essential regulation is to never forget Krishna. And the most essential prescription is to always remember Krishna. The most essential prohibition is to never forget Krishna. So I thought it was interesting, right? Like whatever combination you do, right, it is like always remember Krishna and never forget. So now, what are the results of recollection of Krishna? Right? There's a simple recollection of Krishna, right? So again, these points are interesting when Maharaj said, so I thought shallows, right? A shallow person becomes deep, an impious person becomes pious, an impure person becomes pure, a person with a lot of material desires becomes desireless, a fool becomes learned. Right? So really resonated with me, the way he presented. And obviously, when we see this word, oh, material desires becomes desireless, some might have a problem with that. But if you are in Krishna consciousness for some time, you will know what that really means. But I noted that, so thought it was a very good way to present what happens when you remember Krishna. And then, what's the next level of Krishna Smaranam? Right? So the summary of Krishna Smaranam is also like the process of purifying the mind by inviting Krishna inside. So at least for the first session, he was focusing more and more about our inner purification, right? So the process of bringing Krishna, remembering Krishna, thinking Krishna is for the reason of purifying our mind, right? So internal nourishment is very important. And he said that what are the different types, like 5 different types of smarana, right? Like Nama Smarana, Rupa Smarana, Guna Smarana, Leela Smarana, and Dham Smarana. The first one is Nam Smarana. So if somebody is new or coming into or following to the path, you need to focus on the Nam Smarana, right? What is Nam Smarana? We'll talk a little bit. But he that was not something that he covered in detail, but I gathered some points there. So this again is an interesting way he presented. Generally, when we say, oh, we have to focus while chanting, you have to remember your chanting and the meaning, and so that's what we say. But he put it in a nice way here, like the mind should be in the mantra, and the mantra should be in the mind. Right? So basically, if you start paying attention to each syllable, it means what you're bringing your mind in the mantra, and then you're always thinking about the mantra more again after. So that's what he said. The mind should be in the mantra, and the mantra should be in the mind. He also said that if somebody comes to the door of a room, they are sure to enter through the door and come into the room. Obviously, some might go back. So if you start with Nam Smarana, the Lord will take you to the next step automatically. So you really don't have to worry about, the way he said was, okay, I'm not going to cover the other 4 types of Smarana, I'm going to just introduce you to Nam Smarana. And then during this yatra, the Lord is going to take you to the next levels automatically, right? And so his idea was, let's focus on Nam Smarana and let the Lord take you next steps, right? So for me, my experience is like after coming from the yatra, and every time I go to Vrindavan or these holy places, more than Nam Smarana, I always think about the Dham, right? Like while chanting or even at any time, we think about the Dham, right? Like, oh, I went to this parikrama, I went to this temple, and we did this there, and so that helps, right? So we are capturing a snapshot, and then we are storing it in our mind, right? So it's like a samskar, right? So it's registered. It helps in dealing with the other bad samskars that we have, other bad impressions we have in our mind. So once an impression is formed in our mind, the impression is never going to go away, right? So we can put the impression in the back as a back burner, so that the more we do, more we associate, those impressions are in the forefront. So the unwanted impressions are in the back, right? So that is why, like, visiting these places or focusing on the Rupa, the Guna, the Leelas, those are the ways you now capture new impressions that are in the forefront. Right? So that was focus. And then he talked about Jiva Goswami's reference about Krishna Smaranam is like 2 aspects. Like one is simple remembrance, and another one is dhyana. Right? Dhyana is like further more deep. You hold to that remembrance for a little while and then go deeper. But the aspect of the yatra he covered was really simple remembrance. Right? So that's what he had. One who enters the door, for sure he will come into the door. Right? So Sadattat Bhava Bhavita, that also he introduced, right? Like, so our mind shapes our body and externals, right? Like, happiness is an internal function. If somebody is happy already in their mind and heart, that will actually show out in this right? So somebody, they have sadness, they try to be happy, it's just putting up a mask, right? So he was giving some examples about how people don't take shower. But they put a lot of powder, they put a lot of fragrance and all that stuff. But they still have to deal with what is going on in the body, right? If they continue to have that behavior, they're going to have a lot of skin diseases and they have to deal with it anyway, right? So it's just faking it, like putting a mask on top of it, it's not going to work. So basically what he was telling was that as you are a devotee, you focus on progressing internally and just don't stay with externals, then you are not going to continue or grow in the spiritual path. Other things he said was unwholesome thoughts and mind make you unwholesome. So it matters what you think, right? Though we say in Kali Yuga there's no karmic reactions, but based on what you think, it certainly checks your spiritual progress. It either helps you to progress or it slows you down. Right? So, then there was also a simple 4 instructions he shared about. This is about Jarasandha, last time in Bhagavatam. So Jarasandha and Krishna, they attacked each other. There were around 17 encounters. Krishna defeated Jarasandha all the time. And then the last encounter, it was like Krishna allowed Bhima to fight, right? So we all know the pastime of that, but then the summary of that is Jarasandha had kept a lot of kings as captives, right? So when Jarasandha was killed, the kings came to Lord Krishna and they asked for blessings, right? And nobody asked liberation. So Krishna was telling them, kings, why don't you ask for Sayujya Mukti and all that, right? So they were saying, oh, we are not pure enough to understand your bliss and your so basically just give us the blessings of always to remember, right? So that is what those kings who were like he basically described a lot of these things very graphically, how Jarasandha would treat those kings. Every time he captures a king, and then if the king doesn't listen to them, he just chops them off and all that stuff. So the kings were like, one only thing that they were praying was, okay, we need to remember Krishna. And then Krishna, at the end, he gives them 4 simple instructions. Like how to remember is like, be detached from excess sense gratification, remain self-satisfied, keep your vows, concentrate your mind on. Right? So I just put the subtitle there, right? Like this instructions was given to the kings, but all those 4 can be applicable to us as well, right? So we have to, it's not saying that we have to be like no sense gratification, it's just like excess sense gratification. Don't be doing excess sense gratification. Remain self-satisfied, and as a devotee, we probably will learn or we will go towards that. And then keep your vows, right? If you are initiated, then there are vows we take, like 16 rounds in the 4 related principles, and concentrate your mind on me in the sense on Krishna. So I thought this was a good summary to remember, recollect, and share also. So every day morning after that class, after breakfast, we all gather at the Govardhan Retreat Center. And Govardhan Retreat Center is very, very closely located to the Govardhan farm or like a village. There is an access to go inside. So if you have already visited Vrindavan and Govardhan, there is a fence around the hill. So there are gates. And this retreat center is very accessible to one of the gates. So within like 5 minutes, 10 minutes walk, you are actually walking towards the Govardhan. You can see and walk towards Govardhan, right? So the concept is like this is the foothills of Govardhan. They have very well maintained. They clean up every day in the morning. The people who take care of it, they have big brooms and they just sweep the place. That's a soft sand, so everybody can sit on it. You are given around time for like 3 to 4 hours. So they give this, the file, whatever we call that, on day one and say this is your kit for Alone with Krishna. And first thing they do is, they also gave this notebook. Where you are asked to write, free writing, right? So I'm not good at writing, and there are a lot of devotees there also have the same concern, like how do I write? Their only instruction is, don't lift the pen out of paper, just write. Whatever comes in your mind, just write. About yatra, about Krishna consciousness, whatever is in your mind, start writing. Right, that's it. Anything you can write. There is no right or wrong answer there. You write. Right? You can write Hare Krishna mantra, or you can write your feelings. You can write why you came for the yatra, or whatever you want to write. So they gave you some time to write, and they also facilitate what you have to write. And that's what they call as prompts, right? So there are a lot of prompts. I'll probably pick few and read. I don't know what prompt comes here. So they gave something like this. Okay, nice prompt. What is your deepest question? What is your deepest prayer? What is your deepest hope? Take them all to Giriraj Govardhan. That's an example prompt. This is a prompt from session 2, day 2. Right? And then there is same thing, there is a verse from Pragat Bhagavatam, or there is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is just for you to like, what do I write? You can refer to these prompts and then think about it and write it as a reflection. Right? So they also, the first thing also, they also give you an altar setup. Right? So if there is a table or something on the floor, on the soil, you put this cloth on the floor, and you can put your favorite picture. They give a candle, they give an incense stick, and they distribute flowers. And they have a matchstick also. They are given like 12 incense sticks, like 2 incense sticks per day. So they give, and they have this candle, wax candle, right? So that is what. So everybody sits and does that, set up their own personal altar. You do that, and then you write. And then you can chant, or you can write or read. They said, okay, they gave a guide on what you also need to do during your time, right? So they gave a book, Alone with Krishna. So that you can read, there will be instructions on for all the move that you have to do, external move, internal move, and all that stuff. So that was very helpful. And at the end of the session, there will be small group sharing where you gather around a few devotees and you share how was your time. I don't know, Mataji, you went there, how was it? Did you also have that similar experience?
No, it was good. That schedule is different.
Okay.
We also had same speakers, but we don't have this.
So the next 2 points I've written down is my experience, right? Like initial struggles, and then how I overcame by applying certain principles, and then I was in mode of passion and how I tried to go through witness, right? So this was my first retreat going in, right? And it was all new and not familiar. And this is the first time I'm seeing such a crowd, which is mixed, right? Like so many devotees from Australia, so many devotees from New Zealand, so many devotees from Russia. There are a handful of devotees from US. Obviously, I knew few devotees here and there. But the first, what happened was when I went and checked in and settled down and had to have prasadam, somebody called me. Oh, Krishna Smaranam Prabhu, my turn. So one of the VIHE teachers was there. and then in the evening I saw Prashanta Mataji, he's the dean for VIHE. So because I'm doing the Bhakti Sadachara class, I knew that. So that was good to connect face to face to some of those teachers. So that was like some degree of familiarity was there. And then I saw Giriraj Maharaj from the far, so I was excited to see when would I meet Maharaj and other devotees. And I was very much disturbed, right? Like some would think that, oh, you are in the Dham, you are in the foothills of Govardhan, you went to Vrindavan, you're in Dham, your chanting should be the best chanting, right? You should have been like in the bliss, right? Like, but it didn't happen to me like that. I was totally so because that's the inner hygiene, right? Like so, where you are in your mind, right? Whatever external situations you are put in, like Kaliya was there, Ravana was there, Duryodhan was there. Like they were all in front of Krishna, but then look at their consciousness or look at their status of mood, right? So I am in the Dham, I am in Giriraj Govardhan, but I'm battling stuff in my mind, right? So that's the day one and day two struggle also, right? Chanting. This is how do we chant every day today, right? In the morning, first thing when we start, we say, okay, oh, I woke up a little late today. I need to finish 12 rounds before 6:30. Or like, okay, I have to go early to the office today. I can chant only 5 rounds, but I need to chant them quick, right? So we time box ourselves, there's always a haste, right? To finish our rounds is our goal. I should not say our goal, my goal. That's how I am, right? If I wake up late or I have all of us have to leave early in the morning. Nowadays we have this return to office, so we have to go back to work. So now that becomes much more harder to peacefully chant, right? So we are always in a hurry. But then has become a habit now. When you take a beat, okay, I need to chant quickly. It has become a habit. But now you are alone with Krishna, you need to break that habit. Because you have 4 hours there. There is nothing like you need to do within that 4 hours other than if you have finished your rounds in the morning, well and good. You have this 4 hours to focus and read and write from the prompts. But if you have not chanted, you have this next 4 hours to chant. Now you need to slow down. That was very difficult for me. I couldn't slow down. I was still looking at everybody who has come there. I was looking at, the question that came up to my mind, what would somebody think about us sitting in front of a bunch of rocks and praying to the rocks as though the rocks are going to reciprocate and talk back to us? That was the thing that was going on in my mind. So next day in the morning, I got that group session to sit with Sachinanda Maharaj, and I asked this question. And he simply said, the rocks are not going to talk to you, but they will reciprocate. You pray and you put your desires, and they will reciprocate, not in the way that you will want. So I think that was a good way for me to interject and focus back on the subsequent days on okay, forget about those thoughts. But also Maharaj had given 3 basic instructions to follow for the yatra, guidelines. One is, try to find Radha and Krishna wherever you are. Number 2 is, whatever arrangements you are in the yatra has been made by Krishna. And the 3rd is, don't judge others, don't criticize others who are serving, and don't focus on other external things. So I started to apply those, right? So for me, I need to dial back myself from all those distractions, and then try to focus on those 3 instructions, right? So try to find Radha Krishna, that is, I'm not there, but arrangements. Right, I'll go a little bit deeper on that aspect of the arrangements and how that helped me back into my chanting, right? And then start focusing on others, right? One of the things that you would see in the parikrama is there will be a lot of Rajavasis or devotees doing Dandavat parikramas. They'll go around, right? They will have one rock or shila or some mark. They do full dandavats, I will stretch the hands, put the rock, get up, go and do. So you start looking at them and like, oh, what fellow, what's going on with them? Why are they doing this kind of a thing? And so now basically now I have to stop doing all that. I have to start focusing on all those things. Because first day, second day, this is all new and you are there, right there. So after that you get used to it and then now you start focusing on yourself, you get internal, right? So that's remembering those instructions from Maharaj helped a little bit. So like, okay, right, I need to pray, right? He was asking us to like pray to Krishna. So like, no, I need to pray. So generally when praying means like, okay, I'm starting to see all the defects in myself. Like I don't have this, I'm the most fallen, I did this, I need to overcome this. So then I remembered what Srila Prabhupada had told me, right? Like when you start looking at the back, it is more about you are in the mode of either ignorance or when you want to be like, I need to overcome that weakness. That is you are in mode of passion. So don't chant in either mode of ignorance or in passion. Try to be in the mode of goodness to chant, right? So, but basically, if you have a quarrel in your family and then you start taking a beads and chant, you know how good the grounds are, right? But if you are like in a more peaceful situation, you are in the morning, early morning, in a quiet time, and you chant, you know how those grounds go, right? Like, so basically, that's why we say chant early in the morning while you're not distracted with thought of course. You're generally in a mode of goodness. So I thought, okay, maybe I need to come out of myself from being in a mode of ignorance and passion. But how do I bring it to the mode of goodness? So that is when I also remembered another class by Hare Prabhu on shifting to mode of goodness is by showing gratitude. Right? So then that's when I started remembering all the good things that had happened. This incident, I'm going to share this. In July of 2024, we went to Vrindavan. Right? So last year we happened to go 2 times. So July we went to Vrindavan and one day she was sick, so Krishna Jivani couldn't come. So I went to Radhakund and then we went to the Riksha Parikrama. So in one of the places we got down and there were a lot of monkeys. So my friend devotee, the Rajavasi who was taking me, he said, Prabhu, try to find a stick and have a stick in your hand. So I couldn't find any stick. So I was so ignorant. There were some rocks. So the rocks are embedded in the soil. So I kicked. And I kicked the rocks and took it off and held it in my hand. But then the devotee, he didn't say anything. He took then we came out from the place, the monkeys were gone. Then he said, Prabhu, can you give me that? And he just, I gave it to him. So I thought he was going to keep it for his protection, right? So that the next day morning, he told me softly. So I went in the night, I washed. It was a Shila. It was a Govardhan Shila. And I kicked the previous day without knowing. So he said, what to do now? So nothing, no, don't worry about it, just pray. Pray for forgiveness and go. And then that day again we went to Radharaman. So that visit, every day, last 2 days we went to Radharaman. In Radharaman front there is a small Shila, Govardhan Shila altar. So I went and prayed for forgiveness. So just in my mind, right? And then at that time also we got the deities. Right? The same devotee had given us government deities and then we came home. There was a program we had arranged with Prabhupada. Guess what? Prabhupada brings a small Govardhan Shila, keeps the altar. So next 3 or 4 days, we got to serve the Shila directly. Right? She would do bathing and in our backyard, we had so much tulasis and there were so many manjaris. She was so excited. My Shilas had never got so many manjaris and she put so much manjaris every day to the Shilas. And she was very creative. She went to the garden and she picked up all kinds of small, small flowers and she would just decorate. She was very nice. So we got the darshan of that every day. Then 6 months passed forward, I was able to go to Goa. Right? So that was the first that it brought to my mind to like being thankful of the reciprocation I got. Right? So then the second is my sister, who is my Pradaksha guru, like who has shown us the path. My sister and my brother-in-law, I was thinking of them, I was thankful for them, and they are the ones who also introduced to Kripal Gaurav Prabhu, who is the one who always takes us around in Vrindavan. So it's basically my second home, kind of. I just go there, I drop myself, he's there with me, we do it, anything, everything there, right? So it's like, it's not a strange place for me, like I know there's somebody there who I can rely on and go around. And obviously my Gurudev and Lalita Mataji, right? So I want to share this also. She introduced us to VIHE, to Bhakti Sadachar class. So because of that, I got inspired, I saw the teachers, and when the notification came for the retreat, I looked at it, and the theme was Krishna Smaranam, so I thought, okay, all that got in place. And Lalita Mataji was in California serving Giriraj Maharaj, so I used to call her, oh, should I register or not, are you coming? She said, I'm coming, Maharaj is also going to be there. Then I said, okay, I need to go. Right, and then we were consulting about where do I stay and all that, so she arranged everything for me, right? Like, in the sense, like, I had registered if you want to stay in the Govardhan Retreat Center, it's like a shared accommodation. You are sharing with 6 other devotees. And then there is no attached bathroom, there's a common bathroom with on and off running hot water. Right? Imagine there are so many people who want to go to Mangalarati and all there won't be hot water, right? Guess what? When I go there, they told, Prabhu, you have a different room. Not in GRC, but we are giving you a separate room with attached bathroom with a geyser. Lalita Mataji had personally asked the facility people that she knows I have some health issues and back pain and this and that. So she had arranged. They took me. The main coordinator, she's a big devotee. She came personally and showed me, opened the bathroom, opened the water and say, Prabhu, hot water is coming. You have this big bed. You are not sharing with anybody. And here's the key. Right? So every arrangement was Krishna's arrangement. So the second principle that Maharaj told, remember. So I started bringing those in my mind so that I can be more gratitude, right? Show gratitude there. And again, Prabhupada Prabhu was the inspiration. Like every year from the time I've been joining to ISKCON, he would say, I'm going to Kartik Month Yatra. Right? So I'm like, someday I have to also go. So then finally the family, right? Like, so leaving the family alone for 10 days, 15 days, that's a big sacrifice, right? So that is where the portion of disconnect to connect, right? So I was able to disconnect to go back and try to establish my connection, right? In the Alone with Krishna, along with devotees is basically, it's a detox, digital detox is what they say. No phones allowed, nothing is allowed, right? Obviously we take, but the idea is don't bring them. Just bring yourself, bring the kid and chant. So anyway, we have a few more minutes. So that is where my experience were all focused during the Alone with Krishna, and how I was able to apply some of those teachings and also experience on how do I move myself from one of ignorance or passion to be focused on more showing gratitude to others, right? So yesterday, Mataji, you were telling, right? Remember what others have done to you and not what you have done to others. numbers. So that really was more correlated what you were saying. So this is where it's a separate slide, but this verse came to my mind because Krishna Jimini was reading. She was also hearing to so many classes, and one day she wrote this mantra or this verse in the book. Somebody wants to read this? Kirti, you want to? Yeah, this is from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Right? In order to perfect one's chanting of japa, one need to cultivate the following qualities: control of mind, internal and external purity, silence, contemplation of the mantra's meaning, patience, and steadfastness. Right? So that's what here these 6 things. I've highlighted the 5th bullet, right? No haste. So that is what I wanted to focus on, right? Like I was sitting there and thinking, I'm not concentrating my mind. Cleanliness, yes, from an external cleanliness, but internally you're still working on it. Silence, yeah, obviously there is silence, but then if your mind is not silent, there is no silence, obviously. External might be a big quiet, radio silent, but your mind is making noise. Mantra-artha chintanam. Do we always remember the meaning of the mantra every time, right? And then there is haste, and there's dejection, right? Like, okay, I'm not able to chant, right? I'm not getting anything. So I said, okay, let me focus on no rush and chant. So I said, okay, I will move my bead only if I had recollected that I remembered each and every syllable and I meditated on that. So I started doing it as an experiment. Then I had to give up halfway. But then I was like, okay, let me chant slowly at least. It took 26 minutes to chant one round. I'm like, okay, I cannot do this. But at least during that yatra period, alone with Krishna, I said, okay, at least one round, I will do this. Even if it takes 26 minutes or half an hour, I'll pass and I will do. Right? So I thought, okay, when I come back to Columbus, I should do at least one round every day, but that doesn't ever work. It happened once, then all the time that the rush is there. So that's something to share. You have 6 more minutes. I'm going to go a little over. That's okay. So when last time when Gauranga Darshan Prabhu was here, he gave the same class. Like, what does remembering Krishna means? And Maharaj had taken his research and materials and included as part of the yatra. Right? So he referred that Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, our Professor Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's research is what, right? So Gauranga Darshan Prabhu had said this, like according to Sripad Ramanujacharya, what does thinking of Krishna means, right? Mai Abhara, Karunya, Saushilya, Saundarya, Madhurya, Gambhirya, Audarya, Vatsalya, Jalaj. So it's basically, you need to immerse yourself in the 7 oceans. It's like Rasagula or Gulab Jamun immersed. Yeah, what do we call Mataji? The syrup. Right? It's a big ocean, so each one of us, we try to immerse ourselves to imbibe those qualities. So from day 2 to day 7, Maharaj took each one of these and went deeper. Right? Compassion. And then good qualities, good character, beauty. So he skipped a couple of them and then he focused on sweetness, gravity, benevolence, and affection. Right? So Gauranga Darshan Prabhu has one article, so I just try to summarize that in a table format for the sake of time. Right? When it comes to compassion, the one pastime comes to everybody's mind is Bhutanasva. Okay? And then good character, there are several of them, but then one thing that comes is like when Kamsa was killed, he reinstated Ugrasen, and then he would be obedient and bow down to the king. So that's the character, and he was always respectful to his parents and elders and so forth. beauty, right? Brahma Samhita talks about this, right? Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Swati. Right? So it's, that thing comes up. Madhurya, that is a song, right? Adaram, Madhuram, Madanam, Madhuram. There are like different aspects. So that one thing you can remember. Gambhirya is, he spoke Gita. And Audarya, benevolence, this is form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And then Vatsalya, right? Mother Suniti tells to Durva, Durva, I'm just one mother, but Lord Krishna can give you the affection of millions of mothers put together. Again, each word, each point I have told in these slides, you can go for several hours discussing about those, but I'm just giving some highlights of that. So, but one of the few points that he focused on, like the Saundarya and Madhurya, is like you need to experience the taste, right? You need to have the rasa to experience the taste, right? So, I've been in ISKCON for a few years, and the most common question, right, at least for me, what main concern, and I've seen or heard from many devotees asking this question is, I don't have taste, right? I don't have taste for the holy name, right? So basically, that is where Maharaj was telling, if you don't have taste, you really cannot enjoy these, right? You cannot relish the sweetness of Krishna. You cannot appreciate the beauty of Krishna. So again, he referred back to this the famous Bhagavatam verse, right? Srimmatam Katha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantyastu Bhadrani Vidunoti Shruhusutta. Right? So we have one notion of we are the doers. Right? I have all these bad qualities. I need to work on it. Right? But who's the actual cleaner? Who's actually washing that? Who's the one who actually cleanses that? Who actually fulfills your desire of cultivating these qualities and get rid of those bad qualities? That's ultimately Krishna. So that's this verse. So that's what he was emphasizing, right? You need to pray to Krishna to get you to that taste. And then, again, there's a few more slides. But how do we acquire Krishna's qualities, right? So he narrated a pastime again from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 9, verse 23. This is about a wasp, right? The wasp grasps a weak insect and puts the wasp into his nest and closes the nest and leaves the insect for so many days, so a few days. The insect keeps meditating on the capture, which is the wasp, and gradually attains the qualities and properties of the wasp itself. So the weak insect becomes a wasp. So that's what he was saying, that now you are attach yourself to the holy name. There's no difference between Krishna and the holy name. So if you focus yourself and associate with Krishna constantly over a period of time, that's how your good qualities start manifesting. So that's a good point I thought to share as well. So a few more minutes. Summary, right? Did Govardhan Hill reciprocate? So the day 2 I asked Maharaj this questions. Does Govardhan talk? Right? Those stones, do they talk? Maharaj said, he won't speak the way you think, but he will act, he will reciprocate. So in July, we couldn't go to Tekadam. Out of all several places in Vrindavan, Tekadam is my most favorite. Right? This time also, before reaching to Govardhan Retreat Center, after Barsana, we came to Tekadam, but their schedules has changed. They closed Tekadam from 12 to 3. We didn't know that. We went at 1 o'clock thinking I can spend 2 hours and then go to GRC. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed that Krishna Balaram deities are there and they are not. And then that is Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kuti, where letter of devotion is written there. I was like, okay, I didn't get to go. And then I come and see the schedule. In the Holy Name retreat, there is 2 days scheduled to go to Tirthanam and chant 64 rounds. I was so excited that at least one day in the retreat they will have Tirthanam. There's no Tirthanam. I was like, okay, disappointed. And then somehow I wanted to go to Tirthanam. And then Adi Guru Prabhu from Cincinnati was there. And I said, okay, can we go? He said, we can. So I called my taxi, and then one day I skipped alone with Krishna, and we went to Tirthanam and spent 3 hours there alone time, right? So that was fulfilled. And then I wanted to go for full walking parikrama. On Monday they said, Tuesday was a free day from the yatra. Monday they said, okay, we got a lot of feedback. We are going to offer 3 things. Walking parikrama, and you are going to, or you can go to Varsana, or you can go to Radhakund. I only gone to Radhakund 3 or 4 times. The previous day, Lalita Mataji and Adi Guru Prabhu and myself, we went to Radhakund and we went to ISKCON retreat center, ISKCON center also there. So then I jumped into the list of parikrama. So I got parikrama also done. Right? So I also had the inspiration, desire to go to Ashtasakhi temples. Right? So the day 1 in Vrindavan, we were going for shopping, and then in the one place I was buying beads, tulsi beads, and then there was one. So we all have this the big bead, and then we never have anything else, right? Like there's a string. When I bought that bead, there was after the 8th bead there was one string. So I asked that person, "What is this indication?" He said, "Oh, that's Krishna bead, and at the end of the 8th bead, each bead is meant for each time." I want to go there, right? So this is parikrama. This is a picture. Everything is worked out for you. We get up at 5 o'clock, we gather, and then we return at 2:30. And they had broken down different places and stuff like that. So this is a separate class by itself, but just in interest of time. And then like my inspiration to go to Ashtasakhi temples, right? Like so this picture was in the backdrop of the retreat. All Maharaj is going. So as I was there and meditating on the picture, I realized, look at those Ashtasakhis. Each one of them, like look at this one Ashtasakhi. Like, are you both happy? Are you both together? Are you both well taken care of? Like Radha and Krishna, right? They are doing everything to make sure Radha and Krishna are together and they have this that aspect. I said, okay, I surely want to go to Ashtasakhi temples. So then I made it. The next day I took time off in the evening. So I called my friend from Vrindavan, he brought me coffee, I brought car, and then we went to every single Ashtasakhi temples, right? So again, this is, I was like, oh, everywhere I saw, my imagination was all different, but these are all the pictures, like there's always Radha Krishna in the center, but then who is on the side is one of these Sakhis. Okay, there's Champakalata, that is in Karhala, Induleka in Ajno, Chitra Sakhi in Chiksholi, Tungavidya is in Dhabela, Rangadevi is Rakoli, Sudevi is Sunera, Vishaka is in Kumai. Oh, somebody has changed. This is Bastana, and that is Lalita. So when we went, Lalita is the last temple, but then they say, you need to start from Lalita and then do the reverse. So if I get to go next time, I'll start from Lalita. And the last one, it's Paramananda Daine, right? He gives in the mantra, you had that, right? Little bit of bliss I experienced, right? Like that last day, Kalakanta Prabhu came to Vrindavan. So I went to Vrindavan to take him to Govardhan. So we met my sisters, Guru Maharaj, their family. So both Kalakanta Prabhu and Sakashuddha Sarikati met. And then my sister had never seen Guru Maharaj, like Gurudev, and so and Gurudev also not said. They know we have talked. So we all got to see each other. And then Girirat Maharaj was in Govardhan. So they both met. So that was all blissful for me really, right? But my only prayer is, right, against the externals, right? Like, why can't that bliss will be maintained from whatever happens in the external, and then we just focus on the internal happiness, right? So finally, what is stopping you from going to the glories? Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
I see your feeling of Govardhan Parikrama. So nice.
So this has helped. Because over 1-2 months I've been like meditating on this.
Do you cry when you chant sometimes?
If I'm attended that state, I am dying.
Because you are so